go continue on the same trail. So it's like 90. We're at 99. It sounds like. So you got through, that first. You got through SOCOM or whatever it is. Did you guys do the short course or the long course?
So I did the short course. That's what I was saying. I did the short course because I went to ARS at the time, which was on the East Coast. It's gone now. It's BRC. It's our recon school. And then I went to combat dive after that. And then I went to jump school. And then I went to SOMED. And then I went back to dive for our dive medicine portion. And then I went to third recon. So that takes us to 97. So I was in third recon for 96 to 97 and then came to the West Coast. And we can condense a lot of time there because I was at 1st Recon Battalion, company, then battalion. Then I was an instructor at Field Med School. I went to 1st Force. Then we stood up MARSOC. Then I was an instructor again at BRC. And then finally moved to the East Coast. So by then I'm like climbing the ranks, but had done a whole bunch of deployments. And unlike a lot of military families, my girls have only moved twice because we were in California for 13 years and then we were here. Now I had 5 or 6 different duty stations.
Right.
But for SARCs, I mean, you've got Oki, the West Coast, the East Coast, and then a couple of schools here and there, but that's kind of it. So once you get planning somewhere, you can really stay there for a really long time if you want to.
Nice. Well, let's talk about Recon a little bit because Recon was that predecessor to MARSOC. Like people are sort of aware kind of what MARSOC is, and MARSOC is our youngest brothers in arms. If you just look at when they stood up and opened the doors, but they had a long history of Recon before that. Can you briefly touch kind of on that Recon mission and what you guys were actually supporting, and then obviously that'll kind of like transition ourselves into what MARSOC is and how they're doing there, and I want to hit something along the way there, but let's talk that First Force Recon mission and really what the Marine Recon mission was all about.
Right, so you've got division, and the recon units are still out there and still doing great work. You've got the division recon asset, if you will, and that's kind of a deep reconnaissance, eyes and ears for the commanders for the landing force, and then Force Recon, which is a MEF asset, the Marine Expeditionary Force. So it's the difference between the 3-star and the 2-star there. And again, they're also capable of deep recon and also, do all the VBSS, GoPlat. They're more of a everybody's kind of a jack of all trades, but they get more of that in the direct action type mission. I went to Iraq with First Force and we did a lot of direct action and did some, we did some classic recon missions too. I actually went on a no kidding bridge rep reconnaissance patrol where we took an engineer with us, just like they said we would in school. And we had to be very careful because he's not a reconnaissance Marine. And, and we're like patrolling right by. And it was 8 of us, alone and unafraid, deep in it, kind of like patrolling by an Iraqi camp, or Al-Qaeda, anyway, I mean, and then we show up to this bridge and this dude gets out and nerds out on his bridge stuff and does what he's got to do. And then we hightailed it out of there. And I just remember on that patrol thinking, wow, like they told us this would happen. And here we are doing it. It was pretty wild.
Just like the instructor said,
really here.
Right.
This is amazing. I did this at the at the finishing course. That's amazing. Recon, a lifetime ago, my swim coach was a recon dude. Like he was one of the Marine, recon operators, a Force Recon guy. And it was always such an interesting mission set with me. And he was lucky enough to go in, a very, very short stint in the recon community. I think he was in for like 6 years, but had some good missions kind of at the beginning of, the war there. And, we always talked highly of it. And, the other